And unfortunately, there are no political figures in this country right now in the political mainstream that stand up and say Khalistani violence, Khalistani hate, it doesn't belong in this country. Do you seriously believe that, as Pannu has done, called for the expulsion of Hindus from Canada? Do you seriously believe that somebody had stood up and asked for the expulsion of Jews from Canada, that he wouldn't be prosecuted? He wouldn't be picked up by the police the next day?
Welcome to part 3, the finale. This is where we're going to start putting all the pieces together. I'm going to let this man speak a little bit more, just because he does such a great job of just throwing the truth right out there. And he's a lot more entertaining, I think, than I am. Let's get back to what he's saying and listen carefully to how he words it, because really he doesn't hold his tongue. He's not looking for seat of power anymore. He's not afraid to hurt anybody, especially since his own party has literally been flushed down the crapper. Take it away. Give me the truth.
And investigated. So there is a total amnesia on this issue, a total lack of effort on the part of the law enforcement as well as the politicians.
You know, Mr. Dosanjh, a lot of the individuals in that temple were Indian nationals. As I understand it, they were being given consular services by the Indian High Commission or the consulate. It's something which has happened forever. A lot of them, for example, if they're Indian nationals, would need to draw their pensions. They need to, they've come into Canada late in their lives, and so they need that consular assistance. Do you believe that this was a deliberate effort at thwarting that or attempting to stop that?
Oh, absolutely. It is an effort to harm Indians here generally, and to try and create a wedge, and to try and prevent the consular officials from helping Indian citizens or Canadian citizens who need these life certificates. You know, in Toronto, I know the consulate is way over downtown, miles away from where people live. So it's good for the consular officials to come to various temples and places and hold these things. And I understand that I saw a photograph of people inside. There were lots of Sikhs and Hindus, people who had come, old people who had come to get their life certificates. So this wasn't even about, consulars aren't there to just help the Hindus. I mean, they're helping all Indians.
Yeah.
And,
is there a
and
sense
it's
of fear, Mr.
unfortunate.
Dosanjh, among members of...
Now, something else about this rally. I don't know if I mentioned it in the previous episode. I'm trying to get these both done here as quick as possible, but there were actually police that were involved in this, one in particular, who was actually joined in with the Khalistanis and beat a couple of the Hindu and Sikhs that were there. This is Canada. Like I said, this is Canada. They've infiltrated every part. And from what I can tell, I couldn't find if he lost his job or if he is charged. I'm so busy doing so much research. If anybody out there has that video, send it to me. It saves me like so much time. I don't think people watching are aware of how much time and energy it takes to put together such a simple episode, let alone something like this where I'm trying to do, like I said, 6 hours of what should be video work and compress it down into these 3-part segments where it makes sense and it's tenable. It's in layman's terms, right? You can actually see the storyline and kind of follow through. It takes a lot of work. But yeah, like a cop was right there. I had the video footage saved, and then somehow it got bunked off one of my sites and it's gone. I've been trying to find it. But literally there's a cop in uniform who was supposed to be there helping, actually beating off the people who were being oppressed, the people who were being thumped on. This is Canada. Unbelievable what's going on in our nation.
The Indo-Canadian community. This is one of the most credentialed community in Canada, extremely educated, extremely successful, extremely prosperous. But people who, by and large, 99.99% have nothing to do with any of this. Is there a sense of fear in that community?
Oh, absolutely. There's been fear in the Sikh community, for a long time. This violence has been going on in the Sikh temples for a long time. That's why moderates have simply walked away because they can't be physically fighting. The police haven't helped very much. The politicians haven't helped very much. Now it's spilled over onto the Hindu temples. And, unfortunately, it shouldn't be a thing of joy, but I think perhaps because now the conflict seems to have widened and perhaps more attention might be paid by the politicians and the law enforcement.
Mr. Dosanjh, the other very disturbing aspect which emerged just a couple of days back was that Canada is actively, keeping track of Indian consular officials, a few diplomats who are remaining. They are spying on them. They are using video surveillance and audio surveillance as well. That many in India seem to suggest is a breach of basic consular and diplomatic protocol. At a time when the relations between the two sides have really plummeted, isn't that still a bit too much?
Well, look, covert operations go on. All countries do that, where it is a violation of the diplomatic, traditions and laws, international rules and norms. But most countries do it. I'm not suggesting Canada should do it, but we understand, as people who know the world a little bit, that it happens. I'm not justifying it, but it happens. And I'm sure India does the same. The US does it all the time. How do you think, how else did they find out what Indian diplomats or others might have been doing about Niger or somebody else or Patwant Singh, Gurpatwant Pannu? They do
Allegedly,
that
yeah.
because they eavesdrop, right? It's not right. It's not proper. Most countries would give you a lesson saying, "Oh, we should obey diplomatic norms. Comply with them." They know all of them breach them if they can.
One final question, Mr. Dosanjh. The entire, you've spent decades in Canada. The entire problem with the Khalistani movement is not new. It's existed for decades on end. I've been a student in Canada. My father being a diplomat, we were protected by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police way back in 1991 because of this threat. It's existed for decades. It's never found space, in the Canadian media, other than occasional stories here and there. It's always been a factor in Canada's life. Is it now something which is out of control?
Oh, it is. Obviously, if you can have elements, violent elements, who can go to three temples around the same time in three different cities across the country and cause violence, it is out of hand. It is, in fact, it's a blemish, a very strong blemish on our law enforcement, on the reputation of our law enforcement and politicians. Politicians have failed to condemn this violence and hate. It's existed in Canada, it continues to grow, and law enforcement has done very little to enforce the laws that could have been enforced.
Joining us now,
Now, if he only knew a few things I'm going to show you here. So we know that Trudeau purposely went there right at the beginning of his tenure with an assassin, with the full intent of stirring a hornet's nest, of insulting the Indian government for votes. He said it. Many other that you've seen on these episodes. This is an obvious factor. And we have Jagmeet, who's working the other side of the spectrum with the Khalistanis. So we have a prime minister who's doing it at the top scale using minions in order to do it. And then at every opportune chance using his political stature to do it. And then you've got the guy who's holding him in power. Now this, of course, he was holding him in power later, which is while all this is going on already. Doing the same thing, and they're battling each other. And now they're both getting creamed. because of their policies are catching them. They need to stir the pot. They need to start to foment hate and bring this further to attention in order to take your eyes off of what's actually going on in Canada. Kind of like what they're doing right now with Trump. It's all Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault you can't afford a house. It's Trump's fault you cannot afford food. It's Trump's house that it's choosing heat and eat. It's all Trump's fault that, you can't afford gas. It's all Trump's fault that our GDP is only risen 0.5% in 10 years. It's all Trump's fault that your dollar is only worth 60 some cents. It's all Trump's fault. People have this is propaganda. This is how you do it. This is politicians. And these guys are being run and taught by the best and smartest there are in the world. The WEF and these elitists. And these guys are all puppets. They all went to the school of WEF. They all know. Your country is being destroyed while your media is using its tool, the most valuable tool of a dictatorship, of a fascist, socialist, or communist government. Most people say it's the military. It's not. It's the media. The media is the number one tool because not only is it used to get them in power, it's used to allow them the time to change laws that keep them in power. And by the time it's too late, that's when all they have to do is maintain and not tell you what the military and police are doing behind closed doors. And that's what you see going on in Ukraine and lots of other countries around the world where they just drive right up and they just take somebody, throw them in a suit and send them out to the front line to die. It's not on the media. They don't talk about it. So it's like a tree. It falls in the forest. Does it make a noise? But if you like, share, and subscribe, that's a different type of noise. Because now you're breaking that arm of the media. You're popping that dome, breaking the glass dome, and allowing the voices to get out there for people to see it. This is what Trudeau has controlled for so long. Now, I'm going to show you just how evil Trudeau is. He's worse. He's only and I'm only saying that because Jagmeet isn't the prime minister, and he never will be. Thank God. Because I have a feeling he would be worse than Trudeau. But Trudeau's worse than Jagmeet right now on how he's using these Khalistanis. Do you wonder why the Five Eyes want to kick us out? You would think that if they gave us credible information and Trudeau got up and didn't actually say what they gave him, but had the evidence in order to confront India with it behind closed doors, this could have all been just, if the evidence was real, if Modi would have said, I don't care, if we would have thrown the evidence in front of him and Modi would have said, I don't care, I'm not looking at the evidence, then he could have stepped forward and he would have had the backing of all of the other countries, and he could have tried to lay down that bit by protecting the agencies that gave it to him and shown us proof. That's how the truth would have come out. That's not what happened. He came out with lies. He used the media. And he used the RCMP. They lied. They lied. And they gave a lot of mistruths and a lot of deceit. Because there's no way that the other countries wouldn't have backed up Trudeau if he was right. There's no way they would be thinking about kicking us out of the Five Eyes if he was right. And then you find this out.
Top news stories of the hour. Now, in another revelation, the son of prominent Sikh community leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who was killed in June this year, has disclosed that his father, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, maintained regular contact with Canadian intelligence officers in the months leading up to his killing in British Columbia in June. Now, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau informed the House of Commons about this case, which we all know now, which he says is credibly linked to India. Now, India has denied those absurd claims, calling for more evidence to be put out so that India can carry out its own due action in that particular matter. But Balraj Singh Nijjar, who's 21 years old, the son of now slain Hardeep Singh Nijjar, shared that his father had been engaging with officers from the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, meeting once or twice a week, including just days before his fatal shooting on the 18th of June. Now, these meetings commenced in February this year and intensified over the following months. Additionally, Balraj Singh Nijjar, the son of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, 21 years old, revealed that he himself attended a meeting between his father and the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the RCMP, in the previous year, during which particular meeting they were made aware of the threats against Hardeep Singh Nijjar's life.
The previous year. Think really carefully about this, people. The previous year. So we could be frugal on it. Let's say 6 months before the murder, they were already in contact. Why were they in contact with the terrorist who's listed on, I can't remember what it is, 30-some countries as a terrorist? Why are you protecting a terrorist? Oh, right, because you don't want to extradite them, because you removed them off the Canadian terrorist list to try and protect them and hide them from the actual fact that they're terrorists. And they are linked, and there is proof that India has legitimate proof that these guys have done some incredibly nasty things or had taught and given and supplied and funded people in order to do very terrible things in India or around the world to Indian representatives, like the ones they have on their flags and banners posted all over openly in the streets of Canada. And then Trudeau comes out and says, well, India did it. We have information, India did it. When he first came out, it was credible information. We know India did it. We know they did it. Yeah, we got information. The second they said it, 3 countries backed away. The United States, Australia, and New Zealand. They didn't know what to do. What do you do? And in the coming days, 10 or 15 more countries started backing away. These are all places that have got a large volume of Indian immigrants. That he's already stirred so much shit from dressing up and going right to the Khalistani temple with an assassin beside him that they've been slowly dealing with and trying to get back under wraps and get control of and start burying this hate again. And then he goes and pulls something like that? Oh, right. He was plummeting in the polls. Now, I'm sorry. This is opinion from right here for the next couple minutes. This is opinion. I have no proof right now, although I have a lot of dotted lines that are slowly getting leaded in that maybe in the next coming months I'll have a whistleblower tell me, or I'll find something out online. Doesn't this sound a lot like kind of, I know it's extreme, but like the JFK? Doesn't this sound a lot like most of the typical small assassinations that happen? Where the government itself is the ones who's involved and implicit? So we know that the cops were following them years ago, and they mistook bombs for gunshots. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. That was all debunked episode 1. Trudeau's dad knew. Pierre knew. Pierre knew all about it. He allowed it to get out of control. And how many lives did it cost? Are we going to go down this same slippery slope? This whole interference coming out and him lying about saying he had conservatives, and then that comes out, and what was it? It was Patrick Brown, and Patrick Brown literally went up and said, yeah, we knew. Duh. I also knew I wasn't going to win. Like, I only got like 3% of the vote. So we knew, and it was irrelevant, so why would we act on it? That was stupid. Trudeau will do anything. He will lie. He will do, look at what he's done to our nation. He will do anything to stay in power. I have no doubts in my mind, none, that he knew exactly what happened. I don't believe that India was involved in it, to be honest. Not like he says, not to say that there wasn't another Indian sect that did it. Who knows? It could have been an Indian Canadian paid for by Canadian CSIS. It could have been, I have no idea. All I know is it's sure and hell not pointing to India. It would make absolutely no sense unless you have evidence. You have to have evidence. Now, Trudeau was in front of the news. We know it is, right? That's all you heard was the news blasting this out. We've got it. We know it's them. Man, and then we're getting rid of delegates and they're sending ours home and all shit's breaking loose. And then, okay, what does he do? He takes the chance during an interference investigation where he builds his own little kangaroo court, which he's done this numerous of times. He's a professional at it. All of his puppet masters, they're good. They control all the offices. And he grabs a judge that's bought and paid for and grew up with them and went skiing with them and has lied for his dad. Media, crickets, silence. And he uses this inquiry where he's on the line because 11 liberals are proven to have been bought and paid for and put in power by Chinese money. One of them we know for sure, Mary Ng. I know of 3 more. I still can't list them off. Come on, Sam Cooper. Give them to me, buddy. Give them to me. I check my emails. Oh, man, all the time. I can't wait. And what does he do? He comes out with the false allegations about the conservatives, and then he drops this bullshit out in an inquiry it doesn't even belong in, but he's trying to gaslight. And the media, if you don't remember afterwards, they just lap this up and spread the word because now he's getting away from his own foreign interference that he's been hiding from Canadians. And he's got to change the topic so he can get some votes back. Change the topic. You ready, everybody? Fetch the ball. That's what his media is doing. Here you go, Canadians. Bouncing the ball, Canadians. Bouncing the ball. Fetch the ball. Are you ready? Go fetch.
We chose to continue to work behind the scenes to try and get India to cooperate with us. Their asks of us was...
Now I want you to watch very carefully. Jawline, eyes, and posturing. I've got a lot more studying to do on this, but I've been doing a little bit of reading here lately, and by a little bit, that's usually a lot. I do a lot of reading on this. And I've been kind of studying the whole thing about where a person looks when they're telling the truth, when they're telling a lie, their actions, their hand motions, certain things that they do. And I can tell you something right now. You can tell by his posturing, by his chin, even the fact that his raised eyebrows, he is being cocky, he has practiced what he's about to say, and not a single word of it is true. This is a practiced lie. Watch his face very carefully. And there's no doubt, even without reading a book, especially if you're a parent, you'll know it's a lie. And he's being cocky about it because there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, how much do you know? Give us the evidence you have on this. And our response was, well, it's within your security agencies. You should be looking into how much they know. You should be engaging. It's, oh, no, tell us what you know. Show us the evidence. And
you know how he talks all the time. He's very kind of skits off the side. And this is practiced. This has been methodically and meticulously put together. And he's very pompous. He's very confident because he knows All of this he set up, all of this his puppet masters have done to protect him. He is perfectly safe, just don't screw up on the lines. So he's practiced this very well. Very well. Now show us that evidence.
At that point, it was primarily intelligence, not hard evidentiary proof. Engaging us, no, tell us what you know, show us the evidence. And at that point, it was primarily intelligence, not hard evidentiary proof.
What?
Engaging us, no, tell us what you know, show us the evidence. And at that point, it was primarily intelligence, not hard evidentiary proof. So we said, well, let's work together and look into your security services. And
Whoa. Now, if you're the Indian government and you got terrorists in another country, and since the day this new leader comes into power, he's trying everything he can to reinvigorate, to respark, blow air and breathe fire back into this disgusting extremist organization and literally use it for power. Would you give him any of your information on the terrorists? And I just showed you CSIS was talking to the said terrorist. Do you think India's stupid? Just like I showed you with the Liberal MP 3 minutes ago? They all do it. There's spies everywhere. You'd have to really be an idiot country to not have spies. I mean, come on. I'd like to say I like to trust everybody and life goes on, but come on. You're dealing with superpowers here, man. And when you got people like this so hungry for power, do you honestly think you're going to give them the time of day, let alone top secret information? Listen carefully to what he says. Listen to this vile crap.
maybe we can get that done. No, we're not doing that. Let's work together and look into your security services and maybe we can get that done. No, we're not doing that.
That right there is the giveaway. So now we know CSIS, before the guy was killed, was already talking to him. We know that the information he got couldn't have been very creditable because there was no evidence behind it. Or he was given evidence that it actually was in India. Maybe it wasn't Indian. Maybe it was an outside source. Maybe it was the faction itself. Maybe it was another extremist within the organization that did it. Because we do know in the last 4 years, there's been a lot of gang wars going on out there. He destroyed our country outside. He's trying to destroy India's country. He's completely ruined other nations. And this is his evidence that he's got no evidence. But I'd like to look at yours. I'd like to look at your intelligence. I'm sorry. That don't fly with me. So now we know Jagmeet's involved. Showed you the evidence. He's on stage jumping him. Trudeau's involved. He's on stage. He's taking terrorists in there. We know that he's using our own system. CSIS was talking to the Najjar before he died. We know that he's a lying mother. Everybody knows that already. But that right there is proof. Right there is proof. Practice, set up, and lied. We know the media has been protecting him for how long. This exposes it even more. This whole inquiry, the whole thing was lies. Whatever became of the election interference. I'm sorry, we're too busy talking about India. Are we not in an election right now? Are there not 11 Liberal Party members that have been put into power wittingly or unwittingly by the Chinese government? Now you would think Carney being the real leader, a changed leader with a new party, he'd just kind of throw all those suckers out of there. Get out of here. You're done. You're done. Not one. Not a single one. How corrupt can a party possibly be? How corrupt can a party possibly be? So then you get all those smashes and bashes and the cops involved at the Hindu temples. And what does Mr. K. Jagmeet say? Jagmeet Singh over weekend clash at Hindu temple in Brampton. A Liberal MP's claim that pro-Khalistani extremists may have infiltrated Canadian politics and law enforcement agencies parrots the lines of an Indian government accused of threatening and killing Canadians, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh said Friday. Why would you say that? Unless you're protecting the Khalistanis and trying to save your seat. Now, I'm going to show you something that I didn't show you off the hop. Take a very close look at the top left-hand side, courtesy of, what name does that say? Chandra Arya. In other words, Chandra has been leaking out for quite a while. In fact, he has been known about all of this Khalistani for quite a while in his party. Now, no favor to him because he's got no backbone. He's a spineless liberal, or he would have came out and said something. After all, you have heroes and zeros, and the liberals are full of zeros. But there it is. Chandra sent out those videos. He's trying to expose the Khalistani infiltration and what's going on inside his party. Why is he so quiet? Why did he just put his tail between his legs and hide? This, I have no idea about. I know I sent this first video, the very first episode, and I'm going to be sending part 2 and this part 3 to Ruby. She still hasn't gotten back to me. Now, I know she's busy. She's got a lot of followers. It's not like I have a direct line. It's not like I grab the bat phone and I can call her up. So I posted it twice on 2 different of her. I literally waited for her to post. I think it was like 11 minutes after her post, and I got on there and I posted it again to try and get her to see it and see if maybe she'll want to talk about it, or maybe she can enlighten me somehow about this. I mean, at least she's higher up in the political chain. I know that the people that I know, my friends, they don't know nothing about this. This just blew them away. What? And this is stuff I haven't even talked to them yet. I've been gone for 3 weeks. I can't wait to get back and talk to them and start saying, hey man, like, what do you think of that? Now, back to the new leader. So just a little revamp. So then they tried the Khalistanis in the House, with the help of the Liberal Party and a whole bunch of dummies who don't know what's going on, try to pass a bill stating that the Indian government committed genocide against the Khalistanis during that extremist, crazy time that happened in India. And one man stood up, finally stood up. Chandra Arya stood up. And that's when Buddy threatened him, which is the clip that I showed you. Told him he was going to F him up.
Few minutes back, member from Surrey Newton introduced a motion seeking unanimous consent, and I said no. I believe on the way out of this chamber, the member threatened that I will be F'd up.
F'd up.
Another member also aggressively accosted me in the lobby.
And another member.
I feel that as a member of parliament, I should be able to express my opinion, my views freely in the House, and I should not be felt threatened.
Now, do you think maybe he's scared? I think he's scared. I think he's terrified right now. Why would you be terrified, you would say? Well, first they kick you out of the party, leadership race. Ruby Dalla first, then Chandra. And he kind of went quiet. And on his face, this is where am I here? These are all from his page, his posts. He talks quite highly afterwards. Oh, this is our new prime minister. You just got kicked out of the race for this guy. Why are you promoting him? Makes no sense. I'm scrolling this and I'm like, I'm not. There's only one thing I can think of. He's scared. He's scared of his party. And then they boot him out of his seat, out of his riding. Gone. You're fired. There it is, Ottawa Citizen. He even posted it on his page. Done. Excommunicated. Wow, you're out of here. You've been revoked. Nothing brought out. For what? Why? Because of false allegations? Because he's finally spoke up and tried to say, hey guys, we got Khalistani problem. And then the Khalistanis threatened that they're going to beat him up and hurt him, F you up in the House of Commons, in our house. Now, where's that great Leader Carney? Where's that great Leader Carney? Oh, right. This is where Carney is.
To the city. It's where I grew up. It's the place that shaped my understanding of our great nation. It's where I was taught in the classroom, around the kitchen table, at the rink, the value of hard work, the strength of community, the importance of ambition and humility, and that's a uniquely Canadian combination, I think.
And then all of a sudden, Randy Bourseneau, whichever Randy, he leaves, and everybody's thinking, hey, and the media's like, hey, he's going to take his seat. Get ready, get the ball. Go fetch the ball. And while everybody's looking that way, all of a sudden, boom, Chandra gets booted out, and lo and behold, dun, 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 your new great leader.
And let's bring in our CTV News political commentator, Scott Reed. Scott, to the writs of election. The newly named prime minister will be running in the Ottawa riding of Nepean. In a post on social media, he says he is honored to be running in the community of Nepean, adding that the next election will be one of the most consequential in our lifetimes.
Has the party changed? Does it have a new leader? Or is it just a different pig with new lipstick? Now, this is breaking news. This is propaganda right here. Breaking news. Now they know he stole Chandra Arya's seat. You would think the media would be doing what I'm doing. Like, hey, wait a minute. Whoa. That's not very Canadian-like. Why did you get rid of Chandra? What's going on? Chandra ain't saying anything. He's scared shitless. Because he's got a terrorist organization with his name on it. Now, do you think he's going to be speaking up right now? When they're infiltrated, the cops, CSIS is involved, the highest points of, and the new prime minister? What's he going to do? What kind of power does he have? None. This whole clip, they don't mention anything.
And
they
let's bring in our
gaslight.
CTV News political
Ready?
commentator Scott Reed. Scott, thanks for joining us early on a Sunday.
Here we go.
Well, maybe Sunday, but it is not going to be a day of rest.
No, it is going to be a busy day. Everything's starting to move here. Let's talk about Carney wanting to run in Nepean. We talked Ottawa as a possibility. Are you surprised at this one?
No, I think he was looking at three possibilities. Downtown Toronto riding that would be safe as houses. Edmonton, which would not be safe.
What about Chandra? Media? Hello, media? Hello? They literally didn't even mention it. Go get the ball. Ready, Canada? Go get the ball. Fetch. Don't look here. Fetch the ball. This is your new leader. That's your new leader. Right there, that's your new leader. Look at that. Unbelievable. And you wonder. Back to here. Khalistani Carney, Punjab's chosen prime minister, and the details now you know. And people, I have got way more stuff. I had to contextualize and squeeze all of this into an episode that I'm still looking like it's going to be 40 minutes. And I'm sorry it's so long. But I needed you to be able to understand all of this that's going on. This is some of the most evil shit I've ever seen in politics. I've seen more. I'm putting the pieces together. I'll be showing a lot more. I've got thousands upon thousands upon thousands of documents that I need to go through. So like, I'm going to say it again. Anybody out there want to help? If you can follow any of these links, you guys can start off at the Panama Papers, the Paradise Papers. Just watch previous episodes, especially where the whole Carney. Actually, you can start right back from where Carney was. I did the when I did the video about exposing Carney and Brookfield burning the rainforests. Start about there. Lots of information from there. There is a pot. You can start clicking on there. I'm telling you, your head will explode with the knowledge you'll find. And contact me through this page. We'll hook up. Whatever you find, I will give you credit for. Because I tell you, I am up to here right now in some of the sickest, most twisted crap I've ever seen in my life. And I'm sure glad I had a chance to expose this before the election. I really, really need you to like, share, and subscribe. Spread the word and let Canada know what's going on. And the worst part about it is, we got to stop this especially before he gets in power. But we need it because we have these Indians. We have all of these different cultures coming out of India right now that are being pitted against each other, that don't even know they're voting for the enemy within. And we need to stop it. Lord knows, I'm going to town today. I'm talking to a few of my buddies. I've already sent out a couple emails and texts, and they're eagerly waiting to watch. I hope you enjoyed this episode, as well as the other two. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't, punch the notification bell so you don't miss previous. I'm tired. I'm waxed. I'm even starting to fumble my words. I hope I put it into you in layman terms enough that everything is kind of makes sense. I know it's a lot to go through. I think the history is always fun, but that's me. I know a lot of people aren't big history, but it is what it is. Until next time, you guys, you've been watching the Canadian Citizen Journal. I'm your host, Alias the Guy. Stay informed, and I'll talk to you soon.